A Hong Kong travel club is accused of cheating customers. A big market cleanup after Hong Kong's third H7N9 bird flu case, an outrage in Britain over death inquest verdict. Good evening. The Consumer Council has accused a travel club of malpractice. The watchdog says the company failed to offer free hotel stays to its members as promised. Evelina Leung reports. Secretary for Justice Rim Ki-yoon warned today any move to weaken the power of the nominating committee in the 2017 chief executive election may violate the Basic Law. That's in response to a political reform proposal put forward by the Alliance for True Democracy yesterday. The three-track system proposed by the Alliance for True Democracy involves chief executive candidates nominated by the public or by political parties and then endorsed by the nominating committee. Secretary for Justice Rim Ki-yoon questioned today if that means the nominating committee actually has a say in who the candidates are. He warns that if the committee is expected to approve the nominations as long as the candidates have enough public support, that could go against the Basic Law because it effectively weakens the power of the committee. The publicity director of the central government's liaison office, Hao Tie-chuan, also waded in. He said any plan that bypasses or weakens the authority of the nominating committee would be against the spirit of Hong Kong's mini-constitution. The pro-establishment camp calls for clarification by the government. Industrial sector lawmaker Lam Tai-fai is disappointed that the administration has not spelt out the authority of the nominating committee or clarified what is or isn't against the Basic Law. The Democratic Party, which is part of the Alliance for True Democracy, expressed flexibility in the three-track proposal. Party chairwoman Emily Lau made clear what they want is a truly competitive election in which people with different political views have a say in the nominations. What they don't want is candidates being excluded for certain preconditions, such as the requirement to love Hong Kong and the motherland. There was a clean-up operation at a Sham Shui Po market today, where Hong Kong's third H7N9 bird flu patient might have walked by. Jenny Lam reports. Meanwhile, a fatal case of H5N1 bird flu has been reported in Canada. It's the first ever case in North America.
This is an isolated case. The individual began to feel unwell on a return flight from Beijing to Vancouver on December the 27th, 2013. The symptoms worsened and the individual was hospitalized and passed away on January the 3rd.
Doctors aren't sure how the victim contracted the virus. Officials say the victim only visited Beijing while in China and did not travel to a farm or visit markets. As of mid-December, there were 648 confirmed human cases of H5N1 bird flu, most of them in Asia. More than half have been fatal. Inflation on the mainland grew 2.6% for the whole of 2013. That's less than the target of 3.5% set by the central government earlier last year. Food prices, which account for roughly one-third of the consumer price index, rose 4.1% last month compared with the same period in 2012. December's overall CPI was up 2.5%, half a percentage point lower than November. Prices of non-food products edged up 1.7%. Thousands of protesters marched through the streets of Bangkok again, vowing to topple the government of caretaker Prime Minister Yingluck Shinawatra. Today's march was the latest in a series of warm-up rallies aimed at garnering more support for a mass demonstration next Monday. On that day, the protesters planned to bring the city to a halt by blocking off 20 key intersections in central Bangkok. The opposition-led movement accuses Yingluck of being a proxy for her brother, former Prime Minister Thaksin Shinawatra. In London, an inquest jury largely vindicated police in a fatal shooting that set off some of the worst rioting in the UK in decades. The jury found that officers acted lawfully when they shot and killed gang member Mark Duggan more than 2 years ago. Alan Bookney reports. Much of North America continues to be locked in a mini ice age. Meanwhile, much of South America is enduring a weather challenge of its own. James Aiken brings us a tale of two extremes. And in sports, Manchester City showed fans how it's done in the League Cup overnight, smashing West Ham for 6 in the first leg of the semi-finals. The result leaves City on course for a place in the final. Tony Sabine reports. And tonight's winning Mark 6 numbers are 4, 15, 16, 28, 39, 45, and the extra number is 25. And now a look at the weather, mainly cloudy and cool with a low of about 14 degrees overnight, cooler in the New Territories, a high of around 17 degrees tomorrow. That's all from our newsroom. Thank you for watching. Good night.